KTUL TV in Tulsa, this is News 8.
It is Wednesday, June 12th at 8:24.
What we represent at JC weather forecast.
Stores. In Tulsa, a citizens group went before the city commission last night to urge them to vote for tougher porn laws. The group says children are the victims when the lewd magazine. 60 seconds, the weather forecast for the midweek. Stay with us. It is currently 60 degrees, our humidity 67%, nice and dry out there. The winds out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. The barometric pressure is steady at 30.11. Here is a look at our radar pictures. You can see for yourself clear skies in the four-state area, just a little smattering of cloud cover. That's not going to amount to much. We need this cool, dry weather in northeast Oklahoma, and that's what we're going to get for the next day or so. As you can see in the forecast, partly cloudy skies this afternoon and mild temperatures, the high expected 75 degrees. A very nice cool day thanks to those north winds. That's all the news and weather I have for now. Join us again at 11:30 for Dayline. In the meantime, have a great morning.
From KTUL TV in Tulsa, Becky Dixon, Carol Lambert, and meteorologist Travis Meyer. This is News 8's Dayline.
Good morning and thanks for joining us once again. It was December of 1967 in a hospital in South Africa that Dr. Christian Barnard performed the world's first heart transplant.
Financier Wes McKinney is in a federal courtroom in San Jose, California. He's in court for a bail hearing after being arrested yesterday. News 8's Lauren Farr has details.
When Wes McKinney was arrested and brought to this federal courthouse in San Jose, California, it ended a 9-month worldwide search. The man who allegedly masterminded a $600 million...
Working to have McKinney back in Tulsa by next week. We'll keep you updated on this story tonight on News 8 at 5. Now or later? That's the question the state Senate is facing at this hour. About 12 hours ago, they approved a $450 million tax package for Oklahoma. Now they must decide when.
It's been 18 years since Dr. Christian Barnard performed the world's first heart transplant. Now that was in Cape Town, South Africa, a long way from Oklahoma City. But Dr. Barnard is now there for 3 months to share his knowledge with doctors and patients at Baptist Medical Center. Robert Fortson. Very good, except for an occasional sore throat. Still to come on Dayline, we'll meet the man whose pioneer work is making it possible for Robert Fortson to enjoy life once again. Dr. Christian Barnard will be with us after this.
Aid is on the lookout for 6-year-old Mitchell Owens, who disappeared from Menlo Park, California in 1983. When last seen, Mitchell was 3 feet tall, weighing 40 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He also has a scar on the upper part of his nose. Help us help Mitchell Owens find his way home. If you have information, call 1-800-843-5678.
Welcome back once again. Dr. Christian Barnard was also the first to use the piggyback technique in heart transplants. Now, this is when the patient's heart is left in the chest along with the donor heart. Earlier this week, Dr. Barnard announced surgeons at Baptist Medical Center may soon be using an artificial heart for the piggyback technique. They're now waiting for a human donor. Under Dr. Barnard's coaching, Baptist Medical Center is taking a leading role in heart transplants. During his 3-month stay here in Oklahoma, Dr. Barnard is lecturing throughout the state, and he's joining us here on Dayline this morning. Good morning, Dr. Barnard. Welcome to Tulsa. I understand this is your first trip here.
Yes.
We're happy to have you here. How have heart transplants changed since you performed the first one 18 years ago?
Well, we had a very slow start, and things really changed very little until about 5 years ago. And then a new immunosuppressive drug, that is the drug we use to stop the rejection, was discovered and introduced in clinical practice. And since that time, things have changed tremendously in that where before...
If you hadn't done the first transplant 18 years ago, how long would it have been before someone else did?
It's difficult to say, but I don't believe it would have been very long, because the second transplant was done about 3 days after I did the first one in New York. So I think there were many surgeons all over the world just waiting to do the transplant.
What were your thoughts at the time of that first transplant, did you realize what the reaction of the general public would be? As we heard Robert Fortson said, he thought you were a little bit crazy.
I think many people thought I was a little bit crazy. And as I've said many, many times, it was not really a great breakthrough.
Can you tell if a donor's heart is going to match the patient's?
Unfortunately, today, the matching is still very primitive. In that all we can really do is...
Do you see yourself as a showboat?
And I will say
you have become a worldwide celebrity. Since your first transplant, you have been through 2 divorces. Has your personal life suffered because of your work?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, there's nothing... What I miss most is really the surgery that we were able to...
Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dr. Barnard. It's been a real pleasure. I understand we can hear more from you tomorrow on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. And I know you plan also on coming back to Oklahoma again next year.
Oh, yes, next year.
All right. Dr. Christian Barnard, thank you very much for joining us. And still to come on Dayline, Travis Meyer with a look ahead to the weekend weather and Gail Pennybacher with more news right after this. Stay with us.
Spin to win the prizes of a lifetime. Look at that, 600. How about a tea, please? There are a couple of teas. That's worth $1,200. That's right. Wheel of Fortune, America's #1 game show, is on tonight at 6:30.
That's following News 8 at 6 with Rick Hall and Carol Lambert.
So join us and join our contestants in trying to solve the puzzles.
8's your place for Wheel of Fortune, tonight at 6:30. Sergeant Find is on the lookout for 4-year-old Clark HANDA, who was abducted from his California home in 1984. When last seen, Clark was 3 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 35 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Help us help Clark HANDA find his way home. If you have information, call 1-800-843-5678.
It's now 11:46. Welcome back once again to Dayline. Time now to turn to Travis Meyer and find out how long the cool weather is going to be with us. Kind of nice, Travis.
Becky, can you believe this nice weather we're having?
Oh, great sleeping last night with the cool air coming in.
That's right, and we didn't have to pay an electric bill.
No humidity. All right, when's it going to end?
Well, the bad news is the fact that it is going to get very warm for the weekend, but maybe that's good news for some of you who plan outdoor activities. Also, the good news is chance of thunderstorms very slim in our forecast. Currently out at Tulsa International Airport, we're showing a temperature wind speeds in excess of 100 knots, so it's a very strong hurricane, but that is moving to the west, and eventually it'll die out as it starts to get into colder waters in the northern portions of the Pacific. Elsewhere across the United States, notice how all the clouds have moved to the south. See this arc of clouds sitting across the extreme eastern part, in the upper 80s to low 90s, which isn't all that bad, especially since we can keep the humidity a little lower.
If you can give us a good weekend, you may make up for as bad as the earlier part of this week was.
Okay.
Thank you, Travis. Right. There has been a mid-air collision between 2 airlines. Texas Air officials say they plan to buy Trans World Airlines. The price tag is over $793 million. Texas Air is the parent company of Continental Airlines. TWA has been trying to pitch to the people of Bloomfield, New Jersey. Senate Republicans also say he hopes to take up the issue of the federal deficit. A budget-cutting plan is stalled in Congress just 2 days out. For now, back to Becky.
All right, thank you very much, Gail. And still to come, a look ahead to tomorrow on Dayline, plus Mr. Food and why he likes lamb chops. Stay with us.
All right, Thursday at 3.
When we go to the supermarket looking for a good cut of meat, we often find it's more than we can afford. Well, this morning, Mr. Food says if that's the case, then look for lamb chops next time you do your Shen's Ultimate Challenge Triathlon. She'll be with us tomorrow. Also tomorrow, we'll find out what's playing at the movies this weekend. Then looking ahead to next week on Dayline, we'll talk to Tulsan John Danner. He recently returned from Ethiopia with actress Sherry Belafonte Harper. They were there on a fact-finding mission. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11:30. I'm Becky Dixon. Coming up next on Dayline, the training of a triathlete. Miss America helps in the search for missing children, and more summer movies are coming your way this weekend.
I'm Gail Pennybacher. I'll have the day's news, and Travis Meyer will be along with the Father's Day forecast up next on Dayline.
From KTUL TV in Tulsa, Becky Dixon, Bob Hauer, Carol Lambert, and meteorologist Travis Meyer. This is News 8's Dayline.
Good morning and thanks for joining us on this Friday. The Ultimate Challenge takes place this weekend. That's Tulsa's third annual triathlon. This morning we'll talk to Mary Egan. She's been training hard for that event.
Thank you.
Up next on Dayline, some beautiful help for missing children. Bob Hauer will explain right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back once again. Earlier this week, Bob Hauer met Miss America and Miss Oklahoma under somewhat unusual circumstances. Bob, tell us about it.
I think you could say that. The Kmart stores nationally are addressing the growing problem of missing children. And earlier this week, they had some beautiful help getting the message across here in Tulsa. They look like sisters, and they are, in a sense. They've both won beauty pageants requiring talent and the ability to communicate with others. And that's what they were doing this week at the 21st and Mingo Kmart store. Charlene Wells is the reigning Miss America, and Felicia Ferguson is the newly crowned Miss Oklahoma. And the communication is with children, telling them ways to protect themselves from becoming missing children. More than 200,000 children a year are reported missing. So, along with autographs, these beautiful communicators. Yes, that's a nice thing.
Bob, I can't let you get away without asking you a question. Sunday is Father's Day. You've been a father for 33 years. What advice would you give fathers?
That's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, it
What
is.
advice to fathers? Love your children. Love your wife, too, but...
Pretty good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bob Hauer. Have a happy Father's Day on Sunday.
Thank you.
Well, summer movies, as you know, have been coming out in full force the past couple of weekends. This weekend, we'll find some new ones premiering. One of these is Orion's Secret Admirer, and it should prove popular with both teenagers and
near 90 or low 90s. Strong south winds if you're headed out to the lake. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, not bad, just slight chance of thunderstorms. Sunday, temperatures generally ranging in the low to mid 90s, which is a little bit on the hot side. I take that back. That's a little bit worse than not bad. Okay, Becky?
But not too bad. Thanks,
Yeah.
Travis. Up next on Dayline, the Country Peddler Show comes to Tulsa, plus Mr. Food with some advice for outdoor grilling.
And 30.
The Country Peddler Show comes to Tulsa this weekend. It's a national folk art show that will feature 65 craftsmen, including a number of Tulsans. Joining us this morning is one of the craftsmen, Bob Harmon. Good morning, Bob, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. Tell us what we can look forward to seeing this weekend at the show.
The folks in the Tulsa area can be real excited because here this weekend in our show you'll have a hodgepodge of items from the lovable, huggable teddy bears, which everybody...
Now that is weaving, right?
Yes, well this particular one is, you'll see a number of bears there that are made from old quilts and various fabrics. This happens to be my own personal bear here that I weave the fabric for.
And what about the weaving you're holding on your lap?
This is representative of my own personal work. I'm the
From KTUL TV in Tulsa, Becky Dixon, Carol Lambert, and meteorologist Travis Meyer. This is News 8's Dayline.
Good morning and thanks for joining us once again. Today is day 5 of the hostage crisis in Lebanon. Reports this morning tell us that 3 more hostages have been released. We will have full details in just... And still to come on Dayline, a look ahead to the rest of our week, plus Mr. Food visits some salad bars right after this. So stay with us.